Alright y'all, back at it again today with another video. Today I'm going to be doing some of the best back to school shoes. I'm not going to put them in any type of ranking. I'm just going to show the shoe and give my reasoning or explanation on why it will make a good back to school shoe. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded anything, but I've just been kind of busy with other things. I'm going to try to be more consistent and, try to upload daily or, at least once or twice a week. But it's going to take a lot of work out of me, and that's what I plan. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so you can get notified when I drop any new content or any new videos. Make sure you're engaging with the content as well. Like, comment, subscribe. With all that out of the way, we can kind of get into it and talk about some sneakers. Today I will be bringing you some of the best back to school shoes or sneakers. I didn't put these shoes on any type of ranking or anything. I'm just going to show the shoe and the reasoning on why it would make a good back to school shoe. This is around the time where some of the students are starting to go back to school, college as well, starting back up, high school, middle school, all elementary, and all the other grades as well. So when I think of back to school, I think, parents, purchasing, some of the shoes, and, sometimes they may want to, snap a photo, for memories or things like that. So, if you have, a good shoe or a good sneaker to kind of complete the outfit, it will make for a better memory. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of sneakers. I had one pair, a black pair, and a white pair. The white pair was mainly set aside for like special occasions, and the black pair would be the pair that I wear, Monday through Friday during the week. That white pair, didn't get to wear that too often because my mom knew that I would, dirty that up, real fast, as, younger kids tend to do. So the black pair is mainly what I wore. And they were not, Jordans or retros or anything like that. It was just something that, she found at like Payless or something like that that would kind of, get the job on. Two main shoes that I'm thinking of for, back to school would be the white cement and the black cement. These are two of the most obvious selections and will probably be on, everybody's list when they think of, back to school. Two both clean colorways in Jordan 3s, original colorways as well. When people think of 3s, they think of, comfortability. You can wear them, all day and not be in any pain. This is one of the silhouettes that, you don't get too many complaints or too many gripes about, as far as wearing the shoe all day. Other silhouettes, you wear them and, you kind of have to break them in, or they can get uncomfortable at times, but you don't really get that with, Jordan 3s. This is the 2018 pair of the black cements. If you wanted to, you could go with the 2024 pair. They kind of have a newer and more updated shape, I guess. I still need to go about grabbing those and picking those up. Just to kind of swap these out, because I think these have, seen better days, I guess. And this is the 2023 pair, the reimagined pair of white cements. So, yeah, both would make, great back to school sneakers. The next shoe that will kind of make a good back to school sneaker is kind of a reach back for me. I had to go back and pick these up a couple of weeks ago. It is the Jordan 4 Thunders. It's mostly comprised of an all over black nubuck and with small hints of yellow. I know, smaller kids or younger kids tend to, beat their shoes up pretty quickly. But with this being mainly a black sneaker, with small hints of yellow, it would take a lot to kind of run the shoe into the ground. I mean, not for, some of those high school kids and college kids. they tend to take better care of their sneakers because, you know, they're able, if they're working, they're able to afford, you know, another pair, go out and grab a pair. But, you know, some of those smaller kids that, you know, don't know any better, you know, probably, you know, beat these up and run these into the ground. But with it being a black sneaker, it will, you know, kind of stand the test of time. It'll hold up over time. To kind of get into some of the more recent releases, I guess, from this year, we have the Air Jordan 5 Grapes. This is a predominantly white sneaker with the, you know, the icy white netting and the clear bottoms. So, you know, it wouldn't take much for, you know, a younger, you know, student or kid, I guess, to kind of beat these up or run these into the ground. But like I said before, some of the older students, the high schoolers, college students will probably, you know, take better care of these. But it is a, you know, clean sneaker that you can kind of wear, well, not with almost anything, but, you know, you could pull off some outfits with these, and it is still, you know, kind of warm out, still summer, so you know, when you think of this color, you think of summer. So yeah, it is the Air Jordan 5. And, the Air Jordan 5 Grapes are currently still restocking on some websites. You can still find them in some stores as well. I haven't seen any sale signs on them yet, so I don't think they're gonna put them on sale. They're probably not gonna make it to the outlets as well, but you know, when they do restock, they do sell out. And you know, those pairs that are, you know, still kind of lingering in the stores, they won't be in there for too long. You know, people will come around and they'll grab those up, you know, especially during this back to school time. The final shoe that will kind of make a best back to school sneaker. I've shown the shoe numerous of times on my channel. The shoe will probably end up being in my top 5 sneakers of the year at the end of the year. It is the Jordan 4 White Cement. I feel like this would make a really good best, you know, back to school sneaker because it predominantly has neutral colors in it. You know, the gray, the white, and the black. It does have small hints of red on the tongue and down there on the bottom, but it's kind of barely even noticeable. You can, you know, pull this off or wear this with, you know, a lot of outfits. It is, you know, predominantly white, so it will, you know, wear down quicker compared to, you know, a predominantly black sneaker. But, you know, with the pair that released this year, with the leather being so stiff, I think it'll hold up, you know, over time. These were, you know, restocking on some of the sites, the foot sites, and every time they restock, you know, they sold out really quickly. So, you know, these have, you know, kind of dried up since they released. They released back in May around Memorial Day. And, you know, ever since then, you know, a couple of restocks here and there, but, you know, they have, you know, dried up for the, you know, the most part. And price on them have, you know, slowly start to creep up. You know, around the time they released, you know, we were talking about how many pairs there were, you know, how widely available, you know, they were. But, you know, now that they, you know, dried up, you know, it's kind of hard to find them, and, you know, the price has kind of gone up a little bit more. But, you know, that's, you know, what it's like, you know, with a, you know, a mass-produced shoe. You know, they come out, you know, they're easily accessible. You know, people grab them and, you know, have them, and they forget about them after a while, and then, you know, the price starts to climb up there on you. But yeah, if you're able, you know, to get these, you know, they would make a really good, you know, back to school. Just to give a quick recap on some of the best back to school sneakers, you have the black cements and the white cement 3s. The Air Jordan 4 Thunders, the Air Jordan 5 Grapes, and the Air Jordan 4 White Cements. And like I always tell you guys, all work is easy work when you're doing what you love to do. Y'all stay blessed, and I'll catch y'all next time.